Good morning, everyone. It is November the 1st, 2018. Let's put this in the corner over here. Trying out my new microphone and see how it works. Some things I want to talk about today. I'm doing a trial run video here. I've been getting a lot of questions. Let me shape this up. We have the moon in Cancer this morning, moving into Leo. Let's see, constellation already in Leo, coming out of Cancer. It's 23:00 day moon, and it's illuminated at 40%. See if we can zoom in on it. There we go. Coming out of his own house into the house of the sun. See where everybody's at. The sun in Virgo today. Moving into Libra today. Boy, I'm wrong on everything. So the moon is in the house of the sun, and the sun is in Venus's house. Venus is in Mercury's house. Jupiter's in Venus's house. Or is Jupiter in Scorpio yet? Yeah, Jupiter's still in Libra. It'll be moving into Scorpio in a few days. That's probably something we need to talk about there. When you talk about Scorpio, originally that great eagle, not a scorpion, it's about secrets. So when you have Jupiter moving through, you're going to have secrets of the church revealed, secrets of the age of Pisces, the illusion, the delusion. When Saturn moved through Scorpio, we had a lot of secrets of government come out, a lot of secrets of the government. When Jupiter moves through here, it will be the secrets of the church being revealed. Mercury as well will have secrets of money and the church. They're coming together. Mercury and Jupiter will move through here together. I feel like I have been in a Mercury retrograde for months. Communication breakdowns, commerce breakdowns, everything. Yesterday I was so tired when I went and got a microphone. I got on the wrong bus coming home, and I ended up way across town. And when I finally got on the right bus, I fell asleep. I've never fell asleep in public in my life. And I just dozed off for a second, and I missed my get-off stop. So I had to double back twice yesterday. When I finally got home, I literally just collapsed. So I feel like I've been in a Mercury retrograde instead of a Venus retrograde. Mars getting ready to leave Capricorn soon into Aquarius. I feel like when Mars is here, and I have Mars in my first house of Capricorn, and it's usually about getting things done. And I have to say I have got a lot done, but it's been very difficult getting it done. I hope I get a little bit of a break when it moves into Aquarius. Uranus doing that final retrograde into Pisces now. So you're going to start seeing people that I consider associates removed from your life. When you talk about the waters, you're talking about people. The water in Scorpio is our personal friends, lovers, people we choose in our life. The water in Cancer are the people you're related to in your home, your family. But the water here are the people you work with, the people you go to school with. I even consider Facebook and YouTube and a lot of the other social media platforms are connected to the waters here. These are people you're associated with, but you don't necessarily know on a personal level. As Uranus retrogrades through here, you'll notice people start disappearing from your life. People you work with are no longer there. People you go to school with are no longer there. The lady at the grocery store, she's not checking you out this week. Where is she? This can also happen on like your Facebook and YouTube accounts. The best way to deal with this energy of what I call getting rid of energy is to make the choices yourself. You can go in and clean up your Facebook accounts, clean up your YouTube accounts, start unsubscribing or deleting those accounts that you no longer are in like mind with, or that are no longer posting, or just for whatever reason. You make those choices. Otherwise, they are made for you. Same with Pluto and Sagittarius with ideologies. Got a lot going on. I need to answer some questions. Let me see if I can zoom this out a little bit. I think we're a little close in. Okay, I want to talk now about the Mutable Cross, being as we're talking about it with Uranus and Pisces, because I've been getting a lot of questions about the symbolism. The questions are coming off some rather old videos, but I will go ahead and answer them here. I think they are pertinent. One, when you talk about the Mutable Cross, the age of Pisces, the Mutable Cross is strictly ruled by Jupiter and Mercury. They're the only two that rule this cross. And that's where you get the little hand symbol of the first finger and the pinky. And they throw it up and tell you it's the devil's horns. And they try to tell you that's associated with Saturn. It has nothing to do with Saturn. Saturn's the middle finger. The first finger, the index finger, is Jupiter, and the pinky finger is Mercury. So when you see that, it is the Mutable Cross that's being evoked. And it's the wrong cross. It's not the fixed cross. The fixed cross is ruled by Saturn, and that would be the middle finger. When you talk about the church in the age of Pisces, and they show you the Black Madonna, right? The Virgin Mary. This is considered the Virgin Mary. And the little baby that's in her lap, that's Mercury. That's not the Messiah. That's not the Christ. He's the messenger, but Mercury is exalted here in Virgo. And it's an earth sign, so its color is black. So you have the Black Madonna with, they're telling you, the baby Jesus. Indeed, it is the Son of God, but the wrong God. It's the Jupiterian God. I consider him the son of Jupiter. The Roman and the Greek tales gives us the story of Venus is birthed out of Jupiter. Venus has nothing to do with Jupiter, but Mercury does. A lot of those tales have been twisted. Once you learn the alchemy, everything else falls into line. You can't be lied to anymore. You can't be deceived, like they're showing you the horns of the goat when it has nothing to do with the goat. Nothing whatsoever. There are different symbols of power that are in the zodiac. And the two main symbols are, one, horns are considered power. And then you have knowledge, which is represented by the serpents. So you have the horns and the serpents that tell you the power of a symbol. And then you have the staff. There's another one, it's called the staff. And you'll see like Sagittarius with a bow. He's got a bow. It's almost like a staff. Well, so does Virgo. It can be considered a staff. You have like the Pharaoh. He's got the, what I call the flail and the crook, right? The hook, by hook or by crook. He's got the flail and the crook. They hold something in each hand, and they are symbols of power and control. So your Black Madonna is directly associated with the age of Pisces. When the Hebrew people came out of the age of Taurus into the age of Aries, out of Egypt into the Middle East, they were told to look upon their pole to the bronzed fiery serpent on the pole, which is Libra. So in the age of Pisces, likewise, when you look upon the pole, you see the Virgin Mary. Actually, this is not Mother Mary. This is not. Mother Mary is designated by Cancer. She's the matriarch. She rules water. These are all things, when you talk about Cancer, you talk about the matriarch, and you talk about water and maritime law. And so this is Mother Mary at the foot of the cross. This is what you would call Mary Magdalene. This is not the Virgin Mary. Wrong one. They switched them out. So this is Mary Magdalene, and it's Mercury, and even the name Jesus. The name Jesus comes from the Greek word Theseus, who is the firstborn son of Jupiter. And Jupiter has two sons. They are Theseus and Dionysus. And Dionysus kills his brother Theseus, right? He's supposed to wed Adriana, which is the Adriatic Sea, those peoples. And his brother Dionysus kills him and takes her for himself. So this Jesus character here is baby Mercury, having nothing to do with the son of our Father who art in heaven, which is Saturn. Jupiter rules water and fire, has nothing to do with earth or heaven. Water is considered the abyss, as fire is considered hellfire. Those two are ruled by the sun, Mars, and the sun, the moon, Mars, and Jupiter. Excuse me. So, when we move into the age of Aquarius, we will look upon the lion. And I know that sounds crazy, but lion is considered confusion. It's considered Babylon. But when you're standing in Aquarius looking upon it, it's no longer confusion. It's no longer Babylon. You're talking about now the true symbol of the king. In the age of Babylon, or the age of Leo, they looked upon the king that was in heaven, which is Aquarius. Whatever sign we're in, we look at the opposite. And let me explain the reason for that. I actually got a question here a while back that I asked myself a few years ago. And I got confirmation from several astrologers, but I needed them to actually say it. And it was hard dragging it out of them. I had to come at the question several different ways, and they kept hem-hawing around and giving me all these kind of who, what, where, when, why, and how, when the answer is simple. If the sun is in the sign of Virgo, then the earth is in the sign of Pisces. So we are currently, the earth itself, from the perspective of the sun, would be seen as in Pisces. If the sun is in Virgo, then the earth is in Pisces. If the sun is in Leo, the earth is in Aquarius, and vice versa. It's called perspective from perception. Perception from perspective, rather. So the earth itself is currently seen from the perspective of the sun as being in Pisces. It's in the sign of illusion, delusion. The age of Pisces motto is I believe. I call it blind faith. It's the blind leading the blind. And everything here is turned upside down, inverted, and subverted. So a lot going on for the earth here. The earth herself will be purging associates, peoples. And we are seeing a lot of people being moved around. We've talked about these migrations before. When we talk about Saturn and Pluto both being in the house of ideologies, everybody's ideologies are purging. We're seeing this happen. They're changing the way they believe and what they believe because more information is coming out. And information can tear down our paradigms, our belief systems, what we believe, why we believe it, where does this come from. A lot of our knowledge that we have today, we just simply take for granted. My mama told me so, or my grandmother told me, or my teacher told me, or this is what the book says. And we can no longer depend on those sources. Just as we've been lied to, so were they. We can't say our mother lied to us because she was just telling the truth as she knew it, or the church lied to us. A lot of the ministers, pastors, and priests, they honestly believe what they're telling you. They're not lying to you. They are just handing down the lies that were handed to them. But as we move into the age of Aquarius, and it's coming, all of this going on is setting us up for that. And with Saturn and Pluto both in Jupiter's house of ideology, those purges of belief systems are going on. And with Uranus now backed up in water, it's purging peoples that are associated with our belief system. And we're seeing this happen. We're seeing big moves happen, like the walk away movement, the Me Too movement, the black community that's really stepping up and waking up to being on what I call the concrete or asphalt plantations. They've been lied to so much, it's incredible. All of us have. But we believe what our teachers tell us in schools. We believe what the books say. And they couldn't be as far from the truth. School is not there to teach you. It's there to program you. Religion is not there to teach you. It's there to program you. Television is not there to teach you. It's there to program you. Books are not there to teach you. They're there to influence you and program you. You need to do your own homework, your own research, and that's what I try to do on this channel. I really want everybody to learn the symbology and the alchemy. That way you can never be lied to. It's like the chimeras, and they show you all these shows on TV and all over the internet about they were genetically manipulating and there were monsters and it's a half man, half lion. No, these are just embedded symbols of the zodiac. But we can take them with our imaginations and stretch them way beyond anything that's considered comprehensible or logical at all. So we're seeing a lot go on here, and it's going to get worse as Jupiter moves into Scorpio with Mercury. You're going to see a lot of secrets about the church and money coming out, and there's going to be a purge of that. And as Jupiter moves into its own house of Sagittarius with Saturn there's going to be a big battle of ideologies between church and state. First, they will represent in Jupiter's house of Sagittarius. But come 2020, on the winter solstice, they're going to be in Saturn's house of government. And that's when Saturn takes over in 2020. Huge purge in the church coming up between now and 2020. The secrets are going to come out as Jupiter moves into Scorpio. The secrets of money, because Mercury's going to be there. And then other secrets. And then as it moves into its own house of ideology with Saturn there, with Pluto there, the church is going to catch hell. The church is going to catch hell. You're going to see governments start putting their thumb down on the church, and prosecutions, court decisions, and it's just going to get worse into 2020. This is what I call the mass exodus. You're going to see a mass exodus from all religions. I'm not talking just the Vatican here. I'm not talking just Protestantism. We're talking all religions, Islam and all of them. You need to understand a lot of this migration that's coming out of the Middle East. Those people have been so suppressed, depressed, suppressed, oppressed. They're just pressed to their backs or against the wall. And they're all looking for hope and something new. But most of them are running into Europe, which is right into the hands of the beast. Europe is one of the beast systems. When you talk about the two beasts, you have a beast that comes up out of the earth, And the last age of Earth that we have is Taurus. And the beast that came up out of that is Freemasonry. You have two levels of Freemasonry. One is black from the age of Taurus, and one is white from the age of Pisces. And they work hand in hand. Freemasonry works hand in hand with the church. You have a white pope and a black pope. They all dress in black and white. When they get to the hierarchy, they start dressing in red and white. They're then trying to put on the age of Aquarius. Aquarius's age is red. They're considered red hats, and that's why Cardinal wears red hats. But the problem with that is, to be a cardinal, you must be on the Cardinal Cross. And they are so far from the Cardinal Cross, it's incredible. When you're dealing with the Cardinal Cross today, you're dealing with the age of Aries, which is the god of fire. In the age of the Middle East or Asia. And the Persians called him Ahura Mazda. The Babylonians called him Molech. The Latins call him Vulcan. But the Hebrews called him the god of the burning bush. They're all the same thing. You have different aspects of the same god. There are three different fires as there are three different waters, fixed, mutable, and cardinal. The fire in Sagittarius is the fire in the mind. It's ideology and belief systems. In Arabic it's called wallah. And wallah, atani ishwaya wallah. Can I have a light? Do you have a light? But we use the word light and fire is synonymous. So it's not only the fire in the mind, it's the light in the mind. They're called the illuminated ones, the light in the mind, right here. When you talk about the fire in Leo, this is the outer fire. It's like the halo or the glow. Somebody that just walks into a room and glows. They're in the spotlight. It's an outer light instead of that light in the mind. And that's Leo. That look at me, put the light on me. That's what this is. It's a very, it's a different kind of light. It's, what do you call it? Arrogance, almost arrogance and prideful, that outer light, that superstars, all of your stars in Hollywood, Leo, that outer light. But the light in, or the wallah in Aries is quite different. There are two traits to all of these fires. This one here is the fire of passion, rage. It's ruled by Mars, the lower chakra, and it's make war, but it's also purification. When you talk about the different gods, Vulcan, Ahura Mazda, Molech, and the god of the burning bush, these are the two different aspects. This god demands a sacrifice. This is also a fire of purification. It will either destroy you, burn you down to ashes, or it will purify you and you become the phoenix out of the fire. The phoenix out of the fire is Lucifer, which is at the other end of the pole, Libra, the fiery bronze serpent on the pole. How can we use that for a phoenix? Because it's an air sign. And it used to be an eagle with a serpent in its claws. It used to be one sign with Scorpio. But because it's an air sign, it gets the right to carry feathers. Feathers always represent the three air signs. Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini are all represented by the symbol of a feather. And so whenever you see these feathers, I don't care if it's in Egyptian, I don't care if it's in Chinese or Mandarin history, South America, it doesn't matter. When you find these symbols, you immediately need to look at it along with the other symbology and say, am I looking at Libra, am I looking at Gemini, or am I looking at Aquarius? When the Pope and the British Empire came to the Americas and saw all the people with the feathers in North and South America, they flipped a lid. They thought they were going to rule the next age, and they found out there was a whole world they knew nothing about. They had pretty much already dominated Europe, Asia, Africa, India, and Marco Polo stumbles upon the Orient and brings all that back. They thought they had it in the bag. And then along comes the knowledge of the Americas and all these feathered people. And not to mention the architecture in Central and South America. All that's represented by this eagle and scorpion over here. The eagle with the serpent in its hands. Today it's the symbol of the flag of Mexico. And in the architecture that was left by what we call the ancients, or pre-Diluvian, before the flood, all that architecture down there are representations of constellations in the heavens. As in, what is it, Teotihuacan, we have the temple of the sun and the temple of the moon. That's representing the two ages of Leo and Cancer. They built one of stone and one of brick. That way one could survive water and the other could survive fire, so the knowledge would not be lost. And we're told this in the ancient books. The Anunnaki tales. Wow, Anunnakis are Europeans, people. They're Jupiterians. Their god is Jupiter. Jupiter rules Europe. Jupiter rules water. So you have three ages of water. Currently we have Europe, and then we basically have two areas of the earth that are frozen underwater, and that's the North and the South Pole. You can understand now why the Europeans, the governments, and the Vatican are so interested in the South Pole, because it was a previous age of water. My guess is the South Pole is going to be represented by the age of Cancer. Just because of its positioning. And it's water. And it's frozen. And all of that information is hidden. But it's when we moved, when you talk about the flood of Noah, not Moses, the flood of Moses, the flood of Noah, it is moving from the age of solar astrology in Leo to lunar astrology. After the flood, they had lost all of their technology. So you have to go back and be stargazers again, which is what the age of Gemini is about. Gemini, after the flood, is ruled by Mercury, and he rules navigation. His 8-pointed star, I'm not even going to argue with people about this. The 8-pointed star right here is a symbol of navigation, and it's ruled by Mercury. And through navigation in Mercury, the seafaring peoples, the water peoples, the Phoenicians, the Vikings went all over the world, and they remapped the earth because it had changed after the flood. But the whole time, what they were looking for was in South America, Central and South America. And they thought they found it in Egypt. And it was the pyramids. They thought they found it, but they did not. They didn't find the right ones. They found ancient Babylon, which was the symbol of the lion man, the Sphinx. But what they were looking for was the temple of the sun and the moon. The Teotihuacan, the one built out of brick and the one built out of stone. And they didn't find that. They found the 3 pyramids in Giza, which they attributed to the 3 stars in the belt of Orion. But there is another one that they rejected, and it's the stone the builders rejected, which is Fomalhaut. Fomalhaut is a triple star system. Let's see if we can pop that up right quick. I am doing a trial on this thing, so let's see what it can do. Let me pull this up out of my way for a minute. Oh, that ain't gonna work. Let's do it this way. Let's launch that browser. I am so happy to be able to actually do a video where I can launch my browser. Here we go on our triple star system of Omaha. Here, these are from 3 different telescopes, giving us 3 different views of this system and 3 different aspects of it, but at the same time, it's a triple star system. Let me go back to that. It's the brightest star in the constellation. Is Wikipedia going to give us that? It's a triple system. It's a K-type main sequence star system. That letter K, I can't tell you how important it is, but we have a K, an M, a red dwarf M, a red dwarf K. And they should be giving us a lot more on these stars. We are being really held back since the takeover of these people who want to talk about the New World Order. But we have Fomalhaut A, Fomalhaut B, and Fomalhaut C in the system here. And when you look at them, they don't even want to show us these images because they're slightly off from each other. And they perfectly fit the star system here perfectly fits not Orion's belt, but the pyramids in Egypt, which are associated with Leo. In the age of Leo, they saw these 3 stars, the king and the heaven. In Arabic, all of these stars are the king stars. This one is, let me straighten this out. I don't want that. Would you stop that? Why are you doing that? It won't even let me zone in on a particular star. And I'm not sure what, there we go. When you talk about the stars in Aquarius, they are the lucky stars of the king. See, they're not going to give us the names here. We have to come over to the Arabic. I wish everybody spoke Arabic. And gosh knows those people have the right tongue, but they don't have the right information. Oh, don't do that to me. There we go. It's not going to give us the ones we want. How about here? Should be the hip. The one of the Luckalux. Don't do that. I'm not sure why it's doing that to me. And it's slowly taking them away. This is a new download of Stellarium. Second lucky star of the tents. One of the Luckalux. They've taken the names of the king stars out. They are removing them. How about that? I'm gonna have to find a new update for my Stellarium to get them in there. They're giving us the lucky stars of the king, the lucky stars of the tents. I meant the tents, the swallows, the luck of lucks, but the ones that are the lucky stars of the kings, they're just naming them Aquarius now. They're taking them out. They're trying to hide it. When you talk about the Aztec Mayan calendar, let's go there. Let me pull this over here. They call it the Mayan calendar, but it's not Mayan. It's Aztec. There are 2 calendars. This one, and his tongue is the fish. His tongue is a fish that matches the mouth of the fish, which is Fomalhaut. That's the translation they want to give us, the mouth of the fish. And that's what this is. But then we have another one. They call it the Mayan calendar, but it's not. It is definitely Aztec. Let's see if that's the one they're going. Here's another one. Here's the one I like. This is going to be the new symbol. This is the man with the water on his back. He's still the water carrier. He's carrying it on his back. We see this in Nostradamus images. Let's see if I can find it. It's in... I did that all wrong. I'm not looking. There we go. Here we go. Same guy. He's got the wheel on his back. They're showing us these symbols, and there is the feathered serpent guy. This one here is going to be represented by Ophiuchus here. There's the eagle. All of this is incredibly symbolic. All of it. And then you have the hand that comes from heaven that's turning the wheel. You have the symbol of Leo here, and the symbol of the Vatican right there. The rooster always represents the sun, just like Leo does. He represents the sun as well. He crows before the sun comes up. So you can say that the rooster would represent Virgo, because the rooster comes out right before the sun. And then this is the moon guy who's got the tail. He's a Freemason, right? He's got that one leg there. They always show you the one leg different than the other. And this one's got the sword on the foot. All of this is so symbolic. All of it. And it's about the changing of the ages. There he's changing the ages. But same representation as this guy here. It's the same thing. He's carrying the weight of the world on his back. We have different ones, but it's the symbols around that are important. This was the ancient calendar. I'm yet learned to read this. I've been trying to spend as much time as I can in it to try to get the symbology. This one to me is more Mayan, right here, to where this one is Aztec. Aztec, here you can see the fish tongue a lot better in the colored ones. But this one, oh wow, I wish we could get the original, because here's another one. This is what they call Lord Pakal here. He's Lord Pakal. But this one here, let me find it. This one, there's an ancient stone. I wonder if they're going to show it to us. It's not that one. This one's a made one, but it's in a cave. See if they'll give us the original. How did I get that? I'm having to yeah, I want the original. They're not going to show it to us. It's in a cave. They can't get it out of the cave. They don't even know how it got in the cave. And it's in a cave in South America. I do believe in Peru. Here's some of the images. They're not going to show it to us. It's huge. I mean, it's huge. It's way bigger than the depiction of this. It's what I call the stone that rolled away when they told you the Messiah's in the cave. This is a big round stone, and it's blocking a cave. They buried him in Gethsemane. He was buried, right? He died in the garden. He died on the cross. They moved him to the burial garden. And this looks more like it. But I wish they would give us the original. This one's been taken out. This is not the original. The original one's huge. It's a big wheel. And I mean, it's huge. And it had to have been cut inside the cave because there's no way it could have been they could take it through the door down into the little paths where they found it, buried deep in a cave. It's quite fascinating. It's something like this. And then there's this huge wheel down there. I like this one. At least they give us a little bit more here. We've been lied to about everything. J.R.R. Tolkien's is from this symbol. It's the Tolkien. All of this is what we need to be learning for the next age, so that we're not led into deception again. And look at what they do. They are demonized it. It's Aztec. They're writing Mayan all over it. And there's some that are Mayan, and there are some that are Aztec, and they are related to each other. You have Toltec, Aztec, Inca, and Maya. They call it the Hob. And they've given us all this misinformation, like Xibalba. Xibalba, they're still trying to associate Xibalba with Orion Nebula. Let's go there. Which is the giant. When you talk about there were giants in the earth in those days and after that, well, the giant in the earth is Orion. In Arabic, he is the giant. But when you talk about Xibalba, they've tried to associate it with the Orion Nebula, which, let's see if I can can we zoom in? I want the nebula. I wonder if it'll give me that. I've got my keyboard in a bad place. There we go. The Orion Nebula as the place of rebirth, right? Here we go. Let's zoom in on it. There we go. And that's what they want to give us and tell us that is Xibalba, when all of that information has nothing to do with the constellation of Taurus or Orion. The builders, which is a mason. Let me back up and punt here. Jesus was the son of a carpenter, Joseph. There are no carpenters in the desert. A carpenter works with wood. There are no trees. They were a starving family if he was a carpenter. The word is mason, or from the Greek, builders. The word is builder. We use mason today from stonemason. Joseph was a stonemason. And so this Jesus character was attributed into that. And he went down into Egypt and he learned the truth. And he's telling them, I'm the stone the builders rejected. Aquarius is the stone the builders rejected. A stone is a star. And they chose Sirius, the southern shining one, which is interesting because when you talk about Fomalhaut, it rises in the south. It comes from the south. And it's the other southern one. When you talk about, wow, there's so much to this. I wish I could just touch you all right between the eyes and all this information was available to you. I wish let me see if I can get this to stop doing that. I'm not interested in that information. I'll do this at another time. I'm not sure how to get that done. Why aren't you moving? I'll figure it out as I play with it. I've got a lot of updates to do to this new Stellarium download I've got because it's ripping me off on the names of the stars. I didn't know it was doing that. I've had my other copy for so long now, I did not know they were even manipulating Stellarium, which is very, very disappointing to me. But back to the stone the builders rejected, which was Fomalhaut. It was this triple star system. They did everything they could to make the age of Taurus fit on top of Egypt, which is dug up Babylon. And the truth of it all was in South and Central America the whole time. All of it. All of those symbols down there represent an ancient zodiac. We're told this Elijah character comes to restore all things, and then we have a Messiah come, right? The one comes after the restoration. And that's what the builders are doing, actually. They think, hear me, if we build it, he will come. But they're building the wrong thing in the wrong place for the wrong one. And the Vatican knows it. This is Leviathan. They call it the frog. You hear the second frog, and the frogs come out of their mouth. You hear that in the book of Revelations. Let's go ahead and look at that while we're doing this. Unclean spirits like frogs. This is the only place you're going to find this symbolism. And it comes out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. Alright? Oops. So here is our dragon. This is the beast out of the water, just as Freemasonry. The black side of Freemasonry is the beast out of the earth. And the religion of Christianity is the beast that came up out of the water. And the false prophet is the Pope. He's the Antichrist. The word, he calls himself Vicar of Christ. Vicarius, from the Latin, is where they get the word anti-vicarius, instead of, in place of. So you have the beast, the dragon, and the false prophet, and they've got these frogs that come out of their mouth. Here's your frogs. It's all hidden in the Arabic, and it's all phony baloney. It's all phony baloney. Bologna, and it all comes from Europe. All these lies come from Europe. That being the age of water, the age of the white man. As we move into the age of Aquarius, he's a red man. Right now they have all this political jargon going on, and they're trying to start a civil war between the white people and the black people. Because in Freemasonry, the White Lodge is fighting the Black Lodge. They're at odds with each other. And the Black Lodge won, by the way. The fight's over. The Black Lodge won. That's why you have a pope that's a Jesuit. The Jesuits are part of the Black Lodge. And I don't care if he puts on the white garments, he's still a black pope because he's a Jesuit. He comes from the black arm of that institution. And they all need to be institutionalized to me. It is horrific. What's going on this planet is incredible. Let's go ahead and tell the whole story, because everybody's involved with this. This beast here, this dragon, his name is Leviathan. And this is, listen to me, that word Leviathan, you take Athon and you put it in the front. And it's Athon Levi. It's the god of the Levites. And it's the dragon of the abyss. The Hebrew tell, when the Hebrews came out and spent 40 years in the wilderness, and then they go into the promised land, and then the land is divided up between the 12 tribes. But it was only divided into 11 sections because the Levites didn't get any property. They didn't get any. They ruled in the temple. They didn't get an inheritance. So they served the beast of the abyss. And let's put it in another tradition here. Let's go back to our Western so I can show this to you from this perspective. This star right here, it's like a leash on the neck of Leviathan. It's Al-Reshka, and it means the tie that binds, or the knot. This is the Vatican. And this down here is what I would call Zionism. The head of it is Ares, right? This god of fire and water, this beast of the abyss. And this Zionism down here that has these frogs in the tail is controlled by the Vatican, who controls the eastern and the western and the eastern branches of its religion. This is what I call the Old Testament religion and the New Testament religion. The Catholic arm and the Protestant arm, they are the same. This one here is still hanging on to the god of fire, thou shalt not. And this one here is trying to get to the age of the king of Aquarius. But it is the Vatican itself who holds that leash. I don't know why it's doing that, but I'm angry about it. I got to figure that out. So this beast down here being Leviathan, the beast up out of the water, and it is an amalgamation. They serve many, many gods. When you hear the Ten Commandments, the first commandment is, thou shalt have no other God before me. I'm a jealous God, thou shalt have no other gods before me. That is the god of fire speaking. It's the god of Ares. And that's because the calendar starts right here in their timeline. And they've still got everybody stuck right here. Even in sidereal astrology, they put Aries as the first house because that's what the commandment says. The first commandment tells you where to start the calendar. But that was for that age. This is no longer true. In your natal chart, your first house is your sun sign. It doesn't start with Aries. In the age we're in, the first house is Pisces, but the first house is fixing to be Aquarius. They're trying to bring down a 13th sign. They know there are 13 constellations. One part of Freemasonry, the Freemasonry part, the black part wants to give you Orion. The church part wants to give you Ophiuchus, right? They're showing you your two choices. And it's neither one. Because I am the first and the last. Aquarius means I am 1 and I am 13. I am the first and I am the last. In the Hebrew calendar, they only had 11 constellations because Levi got no land. So I would be the 1 and the 12. Depending, and the Egyptians, they only had 9 constellations for the 9 planets. It was called the Enneads. In Greek, Ennead means 9, and it's plural. They put an S on of it, so it's called the nines. The 9 above, the 9 below. The Hebrews moved it to 11. The Greco-Romans moved it to 12. What happened to the 10? There never was a 10. There never was a 10. It took me a decade to figure that out. I've been running around the world asking people from all over the world, how many signs does your ancient zodiac have? And they were all 12, all 11, or all 9. I could never find the 10. Depending on where you start the zodiac, depends on what numbers go with what months. So the Romans came up with a way to fix that problem. By naming the months after the numbers. So we have October. Octo being 8 should be the 8th month, but we have it in the 10th month. September is septum. Sept means 7. They give it to us as the 9th month. It should be the 7th month. So your 9/11 is really 7/11. Now, the big deal about that, what people don't realize about 9/11, and it really being 7/11, is what's on the opposite side of that 7/11. And it's Fomalhaut. Actually, it's the first day of Aquarius, is what it is. It's the first day that the constellation, how about that? Look in the left-hand corner up here. I've clicked on something that says Space Cube. I have no idea. And it is in motion. We can see it moving. It is in the constellation of Aquarius. I have no idea what that means. I got something all new to learn here. What is my space cube? Show me, show me. Whatever it is, it's moving. Is it a satellite? It's tracked by NORAD. We got a satellite. Check it out. Let's see if I can keep up with it. Where's it going? Check that out. I've picked up a satellite called the Space Cube. Boy, that's just interesting as it can be. And it's humming it too. It was getting it. It's traveling across the sky. Now I know what I'm clicking on to here. So I know to go in and pull out the satellites. The meteor showers are really going on right now. We've been through a couple of the meteor showers. The Orionids. Which ones are we going through right now? The Orionids. And then we come through, and then the Pleiades too. They throw out some. The Taurids, that's what they call them. We're experiencing that at this current time. Actually, we're experiencing all of it all the time. That's the funny thing about all of this, is all of this is happening at one time. All of these constellations are happening at one time. But we designate it by the day which we are in, or where the sun is at, or where the moon is at. But in all actuality, all of these light influences that come from the heavens are all coming at one time. That's why there's only now. There's always now. There is no yesterday or tomorrow. It's all now. When you stand in the middle of the circle as the magician, you get that. That you're influenced by all of these. But we break them down into sections and constellations to try to understand the characteristics and implications of each one. But if you get it, it's just like standing in a circle, standing and turning around in a circle. And you get to see it all. You get that 360 degree perspective. Because it's all happening at one time. And it's always now. All this is going on. Let's talk about what this is. There are 101 constellations the way they've laid it out. You have the 12 with 44 above and 44 below, and the one hidden. The one hidden, the one is the 12. So you have 44 above and 44 below, which are the crazy 88 and Kill Bill. And then you have the 12 in the circle. And then the hidden one, right? Which turns out to be her baby, right? That's the 13th one. It's the child that's born. So you have 101. I call it Astrology 101 is... this is our first year in college. We're in Astrology 101. We're all freshmen. We're all freshmen here. This is what this is about. This is how you understand Freemasonry. I've caught another artificial satellite. Where is it? Where'd you go? Where's my... There we are. Oh, we got another one. And it's called the Firebird FU4. And it's in the tail of Leviathan. Let's zoom in on it. I'm just goofing off here now, but everything happens for a reason, huh? So we have Firebird, which is a phoenix, correct? And he's in Leviathan, moving. Nobody is more interested in the heavens than the Vatican and the governments. And that's why we're not allowed to know. That's why we're given the wrong cross, the wrong bullshit tropical astrology, error-filled sidereal astrology. But if everybody would simply learn alchemy, and it's so simple: earth, fire, wind, and air, solid, liquid, gas, mutable, fixed, cardinal. It's so simple. And when you lay that over the top of this, the truth reveals itself. They can't hide it from you anymore. But they take it all and distort it. And you know why they do that? Because they're afraid. They're terrified. They're terrified beyond belief. They know their time is up and they're in big, bad trouble. They know what's coming. They know that South America is fixing to be the leader of the next 10,000 years. Not 1,000, 10,000 or more. They know this. That's why the Vatican moved everything it had to South America. Vatican Library has been gone. The Bushes and a lot of really rich political leaders have bought up property all in South America. Uruguay, Paraguay, Patagonia. They're buying up Patagonia from Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina. They're buying up land everywhere down there because they know it's not going to do them any good. They can't run. They can't hide. They're ruling this mass deception that's going on, and they actually think they're going to get away with it. But they're not. They're not going to get away with it. The Native Americans have a tale. They talk about our brothers from the stars. Y'all don't understand what that means. Everybody's looking up, waiting for somebody to come into heaven. There are 3 heaven signs. 3. And one of them was Kubla Khan, the age of Kubla Khan. And his was the father of the blue sky. That is the age of Gemini, represented by the blue sky and feathers. And you'll see a definite Oriental influence in South America, in the bloodlines as well. When they tell you our brothers from the stars, they're telling you our brothers from the other ages of air, our brothers from Gemini and our brothers from Libra. And they're coming back. To me, that's an invasion. They're coming back from the Orient. So when Europe tries to take over all this shit and makes their final move, it will be China and probably India that's going to step in and fix that shit. And a lot of you are going to look at that as bad. But what is bad is good, and what is good is bad. It's not bad. They don't let us know anything about what's going on in China, and they fill us full of this propaganda about what all's going on over there. We don't know that any of that is true. Not one damn word of it. Do we have any evidence that's true? All we have is what's being told to us by their black box called the television, their black box called the radio. Well, Saturn does have a black box in Capricorn, but the coming box is not black, it's red. The coming man is not black, white, or yellow, it's red. That's why the red man was slaughtered. Jesus, in the depiction of alchemy, would have been a red man, a Native American, a red man. There aren't brown men. Let me explain that to you. The Native American medicine wheel is yellow, red, black, and white. We even sing the song, yellow, red, black, and white. They are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. Where are the brown men? There weren't any. The brown men, what we call the Middle East, those brown people, the word Arab, A-R-A-B, comes from the Arabic E-R-E-B, Arab. Arab means mixed. They're mixed peoples. They're not black, they're not white, they're not red, they're not yellow. The red man from North and South America are the original red men. To me, even India is part of that. And here's the thing about it, how you know the difference. It's their hair. This is how you tell the difference. Number one, the Middle Easterners tend to have black eyes instead of brown eyes. And the hair is curly, to where in India and the Native Americans and in the Orient, the true Orient, all their hair is straight and black. There's no curl to it. This is how you can tell by looking at them which part are they mixed, or are they part of a different bloodline? Are they a pure bloodline? It has to do with the hair. Isn't that ironic? Here's another thing I think is funny. Native Americans, even the Orient used to be this way, but they have been watered, their bloodlines have been watered down for a very long time. But Native Americans have two distinct characteristics. One, the men do not go bald. They don't lose their hair like the Europeans do. Two, they don't grow beards either. They don't have hair on their face. So now it's a custom worldwide. All men must shave their face. All men must shave their face, right? The priests do it. All the religious leaders, they do this. Islam doesn't do it. But Native Americans never have to. Unless they start shaving, they'll never have a beard. And they'll never go bald. Which is two things the Europeans try to do. They want their hair back. They shave their beards off. They take it off their face and put it on top of their head. Now, the big battle that's coming down, y'all don't understand. It's not about red, yellow, black, and white. It's not about the color. It's not about the country. It's about bloodlines. It's always been about bloodlines. In the beginning of the Bible, we're told that there's this big showdown, and the God tells Eve that you're cursed. You did bad, so you're cursed, and you'll travail in childbirth. And the serpent, he's cursed. He's gone. The knowledge, he will slither on the ground now, his belly on the ground, and eat dirt. And Adam's not cursed. The ground is cursed, so Adam has to work hard. But then there's one that the first prophecy in the Bible is when the God speaking tells the serpent and Eve that the God will put its enmity between the serpent, the seed of the serpent, and the seed of the woman. So you're talking about two different bloodlines here. Let's talk about that. Bloodlines. Let me get my thing up here. Where are you at? There we go. This is the symbol that rules the earth today. I call it O positive. It's O positive. And this would be the symbol of the seed of the woman, negative, the seed of the serpent, positive bloodline. They want to tell you this is opposite. That's not true. And these bloodlines can be found all over the world. In A, B, O. It really don't have anything to do with the A, the B, and the O. It has to do with the negative and the positive. These people here tend to be targeted individuals. The serpent hates the woman. The seed of the serpent hates the woman. He wants to destroy her. We find that in Daniel. This Antichrist character, he hates women. He is no respecter of women. We see this in Islam. We see this in the church, to where the women are put on your habits and go hide. You don't have a voice. This beast hates the woman, or the negative bloodline, which tend to be copper bloodlines. It's like saying Venus and Mars. These are iron-based bloodlines. These are copper-based bloodlines. Iron-based bloodlines have a warlike mentality, where the copper-based bloodlines tend to be empaths, psychic, intuition, because copper has an electrical property to it that iron doesn't. And that's what that's all about. So the first prophecy in the Bible has to do with bloodlines. And that's what it's going to pan out to in the end. Even today in Japan, there's a big war, and everybody, their identity politics over there is your blood. Here, our identity politics, we're being distracted and told it's about the color of your skin. Hate the white man, the orange man's bad, Black Lives Matter. But that's all superficial. That's all on the surface. That's only skin deep. Now, what's going on in Japan is bringing it all to the forefront, because they're all slant-eyed. They're all a little yellow-white. They've all got the straight hair. But they're now in the differences between them, and that's between the positive and the negative bloodlines. And if you don't believe me, just look it up on the internet. The big deal in Japan right now is whether you're a positive or a negative bloodline. And one demonizing the other, right? They're pitting them off against each other. When you talk about the wheats and the tares, as children, you can have a Middle Eastern grow up with a Native American, and they're both these little dark-skinned people. And until they get older, and you see the Middle Eastern guy starts growing a beard and losing the hair on top of his head, you don't realize these are two different bloodlines. It's the wheat and the tares. The same thing with white people. Listen to me. There are two different races of black people, two different races of yellow people, two different races of all of them, red, yellow, black, and white. There are two different races in each one. And it has to do with positive and negative bloodlines. And in every culture around the world, that's how it's divided up. We call it the haves and the have-nots. Right now, the symbol of the Catholic Church is that circle with the X in it, or the circle with the cross in it. They also call it the Celtic cross, right? The circle and the cross. And it's a bloodline. And that's what all this is about. But you're not going to be told this. And targeted individuals tend to be negative bloodlines. Then all over the internet, they're going to tell you that the reptilians are the negative bloodlines and they're ruling the world. Do you think if that was true, they would allow that to even be? Look, all these channels are being ripped down off of Facebook and YouTube because they like Donald Trump. So if you really think the Queen of England is a negative bloodline, you've been terribly deceived. They let that information ride because they want you to hate the negative bloodlines, because that's the ones they're targeting. They're less than 50, all of them. A, B, and O, all put together, all the negative bloodlines are less than 15% of the population. And when you start breaking them down, O negative being most of those, then you have A negative, B negative, and the rarest one, the AB negative. So this is the battle going on, whether y'all want to believe it or not. It has to do with bloodlines, and I don't care what they do. What's coming is dictated in the stars of heaven. To me, the zodiac is like a film script. It's a film. And each constellation or each house tells a story. So there are 12 shows, right? From our perspective, there are 12 shows. Some of them go together, like Aquarius and Capricorn, both ruled by Saturn. Or that feathered serpent, which is Scorpio and Libra. They're called double features. Just like Aries and Pisces has become a double feature because of the Leviathan, the beast out of the earth and the beast out of the sea. But the stone that devours them comes from heaven. The word heaven is simply air signs. Learn the alchemy and religion will explain itself. Learn alchemy and the zodiac will explain itself. Learn alchemy and everything will explain itself. And it couldn't be more simple. 4 elements, 3 variables: earth, fire, water, air, cardinal, fixed, mutable. It is really that simple. And then the 4 colors: red, yellow, black, and white. Brown, edeb, meaning mixed. So, they've got us all hating China. which has to do with, they call it red China for a reason, because it goes back to the age of Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury's name, one of Mercury's names is Buddha. Let's just go there now that we can. Did I spell that right? Planetary linguistics. Here we go. I always leave a link for this below, but we can come down here under Mercury. He's Hermes for the Greeks. In the Sanskrit, he's Buddha, Buddha, Buddhan, Buddha. You can just keep going through it, through all of them. And you can get all these different names of Mercury. So he's Buddha. So we know that Buddha comes from the Orient, right? That's an Oriental tradition. So it is the age of Gemini. Here is Jupiter. He's Guru. He's Zeus. He's Zadok in the Hebrew. That's a good one because it's Melchizedek. He's also Mustari, where we get the word mystery. And then in the New Testament, he's Peter the Jew. Peter was a Jew, so he's Jew Peter. Did y'all get that? He's Jew Peter. In the Babylonian, in the Talmud, and still in Arabic today, Jupiter is Nibiru. Nibiru, Jupiter, the Anunnaki, they're all Europeans. Period. I don't care what anybody else says. I could really care less. They don't come from outer space. Yeah, they're aliens. They're illegal aliens from Europe that invaded the Middle East. Now the Middle East is invading Europe. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So the Zadok translates out of the Hebrew. We're told that means the righteous, right? They're the righteous ones. Well, the Messiah character said he didn't come for the righteous. He didn't come for the Zadok. He didn't come for the Europeans. He came for the sinners. The name for the moon. Do we even got moon here? Yeah, moon. Let's see if it's gonna. It's the monad. The word monad means month. They're not going to give it to us here. I didn't think they would. But it's another name. Here we go. Suin, or sin in the Babylonian. I didn't come for the Jupiterians. I didn't come for the Jupiterians. I came for the sinners, or the moon people. The moon people. Look at the name for the moon around the world. It has more names than any of them. And it is the destroyer. Look at the name for the moon. More than any other. And here's one that just really stands out. And it is from the Yiddish. And it's Levon. Elton John wrote a song about it. The last three, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they're pretty much all the same except for in some of the ancient Cantonese, Mandarin, here's your Oriental tongues. Otherwise, they're all variations of the English language. They've all been tampered with. So Jupiter is the righteous. He's also the Mushtari, or the mystery. He's Jupiter. He's Nibiru. And if you can't see that, and you want to buy into all that crap on the History Channel and A&E and Zachariah Sitchin and every other YouTube channel that aliens are coming, I'm sorry, the Nibiru invasion happened a long time ago, and they used the British Empire to do it, and they invaded the whole frickin' planet, and their influence is everywhere. We've all been under Nibiru control, Anunnaki control. The word Anunnaki itself, we've been through this. It's NK, and in one language it's NG. This one suppressed by the C today. So it's the Naga or the Naka, because the Greeks is alpha, beta, gamma, delta, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, but the Arabic is Aleph, Beth, Daleth, Gimel. They switched the D and the G in the third spot, and then the Latins put the C in there, which makes the sound of the K. So a Naga is a Naka, and it means knowledge. They call it serpent. It's the serpent. It's the serpent knowledge. No, it's just knowledge. That's what it means. So Anunnaki is a new knowledge or a new serpent. That's all it is. And it's European. It comes from the white peoples, the white tongue, the white, and ruled by Jupiter. But Saturn comes. Saturn's taken over now. He is Kronos, Father Time, ruling all things of the non-material world. My favorite name for him from the Greek. Shani, Sadwan, Zuhal, Kavan, Suzing, Dalside. This is the important one. That's Korean, and it's where it's the same word, base root, that Frank Herbert used in the Dusati experiment. Zuhal, Makulu, Malkuth. But there is no Saturn. Saturn is not Satan. Saturn is not Satan. As a matter of fact, the Christ character called Jupiter Satan. He said, Jupiter, get thee behind me. And if Jupiter rules this age of Pisces and Saturn rules this age of Aries, then indeed Jupiter is behind him. As he comes, then Jupiter has to fall in behind him. Follow me. But one of these is a traitor, right? Which one is Judas? Judas sold out for 40 pieces of silver. So we have two characters that could play the Judas role. Me, I believe it's the age of Cancer, water, going directly back to connecting with Pisces and Jupiter. When you talk about the foot of the cross, the fixed cross, the man on the fixed cross, they show you three nails. One is Aldebaran, which is in his right hand on the fixed cross. The one in his feet is Regulus, and the one in his left hand is Antares, or the tares. But this one represents John the Beloved, that was at the foot of the cross with Mother Mary, Cancer, and Mary Magdalene, or the woman with the alabaster box, which is represented by Virgo. So this would be John the Beloved, representing Judah. All of it's here. All the stories in the Bible, all the stories in the Quran, all the stories all over India, all the Hindu stories, the Rig Vedas, the Mahabharatas, all of it is here in the heavens. And it's all symbolic and metaphorical. All of it. I think this video's gotten way too long. It's an hour and pushing an hour and a half now. So I'm going to cut this here. I'm just happy to be able to do a video again. I have to work this weekend. As usual, but I'm still going to try to get some of these charts done. I have gotten a few suggestions on how to access this drive. That's just click, 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 click. I cannot access it. I've not give up on it. I'm going to continue to try, but I feel I don't want to get any further behind than I already am. So I'm kicking in this evening to try to do at least 1 or 2 charts to get them out to you. And I'll be posting them as I do them. And wow, I love my new processing power. I can use the internet, I can use screencast, I can use Stellarium all at one time. And I haven't been able to do this in years that I've had this kind of processing power. It's been almost 3.5 years now. So I'm grateful to have this back. I'm just sorry it had to happen the way it did for me to finally get this done. I had been saving to move. My plan was January, when I turned 55, I'm moving into the retirement communities to be around more people my age instead of where I'm currently located. But because of what happened to Kelly, the vet ate up most of that, and then my computer went down, so I was forced to buy this. So I might not get to move, which I'm pretty sure I won't. All of my money's gone. But I definitely am very happy to have a functional computer that I can actually show you as I go, instead of having it just to be a nightmare. It was taking me forever to get videos done, and then I considered them half-ass because I have to give you a link. I'm not able to take you on the internet and show you. You're just going to have to take my word for it and that kind of thing. But now I'm able to do it all, and I couldn't be more pleased about that. And I'm very grateful to a lot of suggestions that you all have given me. The questions you're asking me are the right questions. For so long, I just wanted to beat my head against the wall because you're asking irrelevant questions. Now I feel like so many of you have graduated up, and now you're finally asking the right questions and understanding the answers. Well, like the Black Madonna, when we talk about this symbology, and who is the baby in the Black Madonna's hands, right? Who is this? Is this Jesus? It's the son of Jupiter. It's Theseus, which I would consider just another name for Mercury. But that is not the son of Saturn. That is not the son of our Father in heaven. That belongs to Thalum. That belongs to Thalum himself, who caught another satellite. That's the second satellite that's been down here in this quadrant. And it's a-moving. Check it out. The Sentinel 2B. Got a lot of satellites in this area over here. Yeah, they know what's coming. And they know that it comes from heaven. To me, everybody's worried about an invasion in the Americas. The invasion is going to happen in Europe. The invasion's already happening in Europe, and they would much rather it be a Middle Eastern one than an Asian one. Actually, it is Asia, right? Middle Eastern Asia. They're getting that Asian invasion. That's what I call it, the Asian invasion. They wanted to dump that shit on us over here, and it didn't work. So now they're doing a European invasion from South America. The tribes down there were decimated like they were here. So what you have in South America are what I call more Arabs. They're more mixed people. They're Portuguese, they're Spanish, they're other European nations. And they've all inbred down there, and now they're pushing them northwards up here into the Americas, which matters not. The kingdoms are one. North America and South America will be one kingdom. That's why this is a really bad idea to build a wall. You need to come up with another idea there. Either absorb Mexico into the United States or give California back to Mexico. But the wall doesn't need to be built. That is a bad prophecy. Go down there. Then you're dividing his land. And Israel is a people, not a place. But when you talk about the kingdom of heaven, you're talking about Central and South America. And they can't do that. There will come a judgment on that one because of what they represent. All right. And these are words in their books. Their books. And the Christ came to say he fulfilled those prophecies, right? Those prophecies are fulfilled. So now we get to move into a new age of knowing. No more blind deception. No more excuses. No more identity politics. No more of any of that. It's not going to be based on your color, your bloodline, your heritage. It's going to be based on merit. You will reap what you sow. Y'all know what to do. Go commit those random acts of kindness. And if you can't find one, invent one.